Just how much trunk room is in the new Chevrolet Lumina? Need we say more? Introducing the 1990 Family Lumina from today's Chevrolet.
McDonald's new country-style McChicken sandwich.
Come and get it.
Now get that all-white breasted chicken.
McChicken.
Cooked up country-style. Juicy on the inside, crispy coating on the out, and lettuce and mayo.
That's what country-style's about. Come and get it.
All-white breasted chicken.
McChicken.
Take you back to Mama's kitchen.
Come and get it.
Country-style McChicken on a bun.
Chicken.
Good time, great taste of McDonald's new McChicken. Seagram's golden wine cooler.
Seagram's golden wine cooler. Golden wine cooler.
Feel the guys love it all the time.
Heard about the Disney Double?
One to watch and one to cuddle.
Now, when you buy any Disney home video cassette, your child can have a lovable, huggable Chipper Dale for just $2.99. So get your Disney Double.
On a double!
Here are 2 more reasons why you should try extra sugar-free gum. Extra winter fresh, extra cinnamon, with refreshing flavor you'll enjoy an extra long time. Try them soon.
1990 Chevy Lumina standard Scotch Guard protector for the seats. So spills clean up like water off a duck's back. Introducing the Family Lumina from today's Chevrolet.
Oh, don't jump on the knife, Mr. Vice President.
This is an NBC News special report. Here is Tom Brokaw.
Good evening. The situation in China is getting increasingly tense. There is a growing confrontation between protesters and the government. Martial law now has been declared in the capital city of Beijing, where hundreds of thousands of students continue to demonstrate for democracy. There was at least one clash reported tonight between troops and demonstrators in one part of the capital city, and 12 miles south of Beijing, hundreds of people reportedly fought hand-to-hand with troops trying to move toward Beijing. There's also been a crackdown on the American news media. At CNN, Chinese officials told the producers they would no longer be able to transmit. That same message was delivered to CBS. The Americans argue that they had permission to transmit until Sunday, but it was to no avail. At NBC in Beijing, George Lewis was getting ready to give us a live update tonight, but then the Chinese authorities pulled the plug and interrupted his transmission. We have received no pictures since that time. George Lewis is standing by at this hour in the main square in Tiananmen, where I gather, George, additional crowds are beginning to build.
Yes, the crowds are beginning to build, Tom. Spectators, supporters of the student strikers, and more students. And we have some late information that 10 ministries of the government, including the foreign ministry, have said that they will disassociate themselves from the central leadership if violence is used to clear the students out of the square. I think that's a sign of the deep rift within the Chinese government about how to handle this crisis.
It sounds as if we have not only a form of anarchy on the streets, but a form of anarchy as well in the leadership of the Chinese government, George. Any word on Xiao Zhang, who is the Chinese General Secretary of the Communist Party, the moderate, who kind of disappeared from sight about 12 hours ago?
We hear reports that he has tendered his resignation to the central government. No confirmation from any official source in the government that that has happened. He has not been heard from. When Premier Li Peng delivered his message that he was going to crack down on the demonstrators, Zhao was nowhere in sight as he delivered that message to all the top officials at the Great Hall of the People.
Thank you, George Lewis in Beijing. We will ask you to stand by there. Well, obviously, the Chinese leadership is in turmoil, with protesters openly deriding 81-year-old Deng Xiaoping, the tiny man who brought economic reform to China. 70-year-old Xiao Zhang, the General Secretary of the Communist Party, has not been seen for several hours now, and there are reports that George Lewis indicated that he has resigned, and even one report that he may be under house arrest, which leaves Premier Li Peng, the man of the hour, the 60-year-old conservative with strong ties to the military. Peng said that he would take any measures necessary to restore order. Richard Holbrooke is a former Assistant Secretary of State for the Far East for the United States and a longtime China watcher. It appears, based on that last report that we heard from George Lewis tonight, that there is enormous turmoil in the Chinese leadership.
If George's last report is right, the crisis is even more serious than we realized. The government has essentially lost control of the situation.
What do we know about Li Peng? He was a kind of stepson of Zhou Enlai.
He was adopted son of Zhou Enlai. He was trained in Moscow. This means that his relationships transcend Deng Xiaoping and go back to an even more historic leader. He has some ties to the People's Liberation Army, the Red Army. He is more conservative on economic issues. He's clearly more ideological. I believe that if he comes to power, it means a much harsher and more repressive approach to the situation.
But the fact of the matter is that this hour it's still very fluid, and we don't know whether, in fact, he can come
That's right, and one of the key questions which you asked George and you didn't know the answer to, and we've got to find out, is did Zhao Ziyang quit in order to distance himself from the repression that's beginning, or, on the other hand, was he pushed out? That will be the key question.
And at Kennebunk, Maine tonight, NBC's Jim Miklashevsky is on duty there because that's where President George Bush is for the weekend. Jim, are they monitoring the situation carefully there at the Maine White House?
Tom, here at Kennebunkport, President Bush is being kept apprised of the developments in Beijing. And at the White House back in Washington, the Situation Room is all fired up as officials there continue to monitor events in China. And in a statement, White House spokesman Marlin Fitzwater says that the U.S. considers this news blackout over Beijing very disturbing. And Fitzwater added that the U.S. would hope that the blackout does not indicate, or they urge that the blackout does not signal an end to what they called appropriate restraint or an end to dialogue with the students. But Tom, it's important that, and it indicates just how serious the U.S. considers the situation in Beijing, that they would comment at all at this point. Throughout the day, the U.S. has been reluctant to say anything, fearful that any comments from the U.S. government would ignite an already flammable situation in Beijing. But given the rush of events and the potential there for violence, the U.S. decided it could sit on the sidelines no longer. And although White House officials admit that there's nothing really the U.S. can do at this point, they do urge restraint tonight in Beijing.
Thank you very much, Jim Miklashevsky, who's at Kennebunkport, Maine tonight, where President Bush, of course, who served as the American ambassador, in effect, to China, has a special interest in that country. And with this most recent visit by Mikhail Gorbachev to Beijing, it makes it all the more important, of course, the kind of connections that we have with China and the Soviet Union, the so-called triangle that now exists in the world. Well, the situation is very fluid and it's very volatile in Beijing tonight. We'll have additional details as they become available throughout this evening and into the morning on this NBC station. For now, I'm Tom Brokaw, NBC News, New York.
This has been an NBC News special report.
Well, whatever it is.
My palms used to sweat when I had to get on the highway. Now with my Camry V6, I just punch. Yeah, punch it, Margaret!
My Toyota, I love it.
The 1989 Toyota Camry V6. 24 valves, 153 horsepower to please even the toughest customers.
We just fell in love with life in the fast lane.
My Toyota, who could ask for anything more? Cross the road, Jack, to a place with a taste that's more, that's more, that's more, that's more. Cross the road, Jack, Kentucky Fried Chicken's got more.
What you say? Crown on burger cooked every place. Your original recipe chicken taste. 11 herbs and spice makes me feel so nice.
That's right, cross the road, Jack. Kentucky Fried Chicken's got more.
Cross the road, Jack.
Anyone can take great pictures with Kodak's 35mm cameras. To prove it, we gave our easy-to-use S-Series cameras to people across the country so they could see for themselves. With Kodak's Auto 35mm cameras, they took the best pictures of their lives.
Start with an easy one. Illinois.
Chicago.
No, Springfield. How about Florida?
Tallahassee?
Good.
On a morning like this, you're not thinking about your Minute Maid carton.
South Dakota.
It's either Bismarck or...
But our protective lining guarantees fresh taste and a day's supply of vitamin C.
Or Pierre?
Did you study this? Minute Maid's better than ever.
Yeah, with Jason.
And the minute you taste it, you'll know.
NBC Movie of the Week will return following these messages.
Alf's the neighborhood gossip.
You crawl under people's houses, you hear things.
But will his loose lips sink the Tanner's ship?
Got another plan that's foolproof.
Then at the Hogan house, a college prank backfires. Sandy discovers that there's no escape. The Hogan Family after Alf, Monday.
From the look on the front, you'd never guess the name on the back. Corelle, yes, Corelle. Now with country patterns, elegant sculptures, and its legendary durability. Come see the beautiful new faces of Corelle.
Look what's new from Corningware. New Rangetop cookware with a handle. It's perfect on the stove. And unlike most metal, it goes in the microwave, even to the table, in beautiful Corningware patterns. New Corningware, a new look to cooking.
Martial law now in China, the latest at 11.
Now we continue with Protocol, starring Goldie Hawn, Chris Sarandon, and Cliff DeYoung.
Hey, Carl.
Now it eats these things, all right? It opens its mouth, and in it goes.
Peter, no TV till you've had your breakfast.
Now it eats these things, all right?
Well, don't worry, Mr. Bowen, you're covered.
Thank you.
It's automatic when you use the American Express card.
Lost, stolen, or damaged, a way to protect the things you buy.
And I saw Gray, and I fell in love with him, and he liked me. So I said, okay, we'll go home together. They don't ask much. Love and food, that's all you have to do. Gray likes his Whiskas because it tastes good. If he hears the can pop across the room, he'll come running into the kitchen. Before I even get the fork into the can, he's got his nose in the can, and he's already eating. I think Whiskas is a very big part of making the cat happy.
More and more cat owners tell us their cats prefer Whiskas.
This cat love is mythical. It's anything but typical. Simply irresistible. Simply irresistible, man. There's no other way to go. Simply irresistible.
Color Tile Savings Celebration. We've just opened our 700th store. And to celebrate, every Color Tile has incredible savings on every ceramic tile, every vinyl floor, every wall covering, even new color carpet. Sale ends Sunday at Color Tile.
When people across the country tried Kodak's easy-to-use S-Series cameras, the results were remarkable. They took the best pictures of their lives.
Saturday on 227, Sandra's boyfriend pulls a fast one, and she's not letting him off the hook.
Want to see that worm squirm?
On one of the boys. Maria moves in, and the kids get slap happy. Then Golden Girl Blanche has a big day. And on Empty Nest,
you're gonna score!
Harry has a hot weekend.
Saturday.
Wednesday, Ann Gillian, Sid Caesar, B. Arthur, and Brooke Shields.
Have you learned any French?
Maurice Chevalier. It's Bob Hope's birthday spectacular from Paris.